Barona, Director of Media Relations for Hartford Healthcare, and we have a wonderful story to share with all of you. Thank you for joining. This is the story of David and Caitlin Bettina and their beautiful baby girl, Molly, who was born yesterday. So we're going to start off with their accounts. Then we're going to go into Dr. Adams from Bacchus Hospital Emergency Department, who will share her account. And then we also have Jeff Evans, our multimedia specialist from Bacchus Hospital, who sort of took that wonderful photo that really needs no words to accompany, exactly what's happening in that photo. So he'll say a few words about his account and how he sort of stumbled upon this very special moment. So David and Caitlin, I'm going to turn things over to you guys.
Tell the first half.
So I woke up Monday morning having some cramping and pressure. So I made sure that our oldest daughter, who's 2.5, was going to her grandparents just in case I went into labor. So Dave left me and made sure that he brought them. And then by the time he came back, I was having timed contractions. So we called the hospital to say, should we come in? And they told us to come in. So we started the car ride to Bacchus from our house. And it was snowing at that point, but not too bad.
The roads were covered. It was, typical ride to Bacchus Hospital from our house is about 23 minutes, 20 if you really have to get there. With the snow, it was going to be a 30-minute ride. On the way there, we actually ran into a car driving incredibly slow for the conditions, and I actually ended up passing him because I had to. And as we continued down the road, she started having some contractions that were getting worse and worse. And as we were heading and got about just around the corner to the hospital, she blurted out that her water just broke. And so, we're still thinking we have a little bit of time because the water's just breaking. So we pull into the hospital and we get up to the emergency room entrance. And as I go to jump out of the car, she's like, I need to get my pants off. So I run around to the other side of the car. I get her pants pulled down. I run into the emergency room and I yell, my wife's in labor, we're having a baby. And I run back outside. When I get out there and her pants are down and I see a baby's head crowning. So I then tell her, all right, I'm here, I'll catch, just flip over. When you got to push, go ahead and push. So she started to push, and the baby continued to come out more and more until the point where it was out all the way. I caught the baby, put the baby on mommy's belly, went to the back of I saw a security guard came out asking if we needed anything. I just said towels, blankets, doctors, ran in, grabbed tried to grab a jacket, and as I was coming around the car, all the doctors come running out of the emergency room with blankets and towels and all these other things that I have no idea what they are.
Wow. Okay, so that's amazing. That's an incredible story. Dr. Adams, I want you to bring you in because this is where you pick up the story.
Right. Meanwhile, inside the emergency department, I heard a commotion up at the front of the department where the nurses' station is. I heard someone yelling something about a baby. And I figured they needed a doctor, so I went running after them. And when we rounded the corner into the hallway at the entrance, I heard somebody say, "The baby's out, the baby's out." When we got outside, baby was on mom's belly and they had some blankets that security had brought. And it was very cold and snowy and the car door is wide open. So, I said, I'm going to cut the cord now. And, one of the nurses had a tray of delivery equipment. So I clamped and cut the cord and wrapped the baby against myself and, turned around to run inside with the baby. And that's when the photographer started snapping pictures. Then I, brought the baby inside and, we warmed her, stimulated her, wrapped her. And at that point, the OB team was down there and they sort of took over, getting mom situated and then bringing everybody upstairs to the labor and delivery unit.
And Dr. Adams, can you describe this moment? That this was a little bit of a nice moment for you, considering the past 10 months. Describe that moment that you had yesterday.
Yes, obviously it was not expected. It wasn't certainly something that we thought was going to happen that day. It was kind of a slow day in the emergency department because of the weather. And it was just an unexpected thing that just sort of, fell into my lap, so to speak. And, having had some rough few months, almost a year now, we've been dealing with, the virus and its impact in our community. It was really a pleasant surprise and a memory I'm always going to keep from, my experiences in the emergency department.
A forever bond. And then Jeff, you mentioned Jeff's moment where the photographer was there snapping the pictures. So Jeff Evans, our multimedia specialist at Bacchus Hospital for Hartford Healthcare. Jeff, I want to, for you to share your account because it was quite interesting how you happened to be in the right place at the right time to sort of capture this now iconic photo for this family. Jeff?
Well, I was actually there for a whole different kind of delivery. We have people in the community who have been very generous about donating treats or cookies or something to staff throughout the past year, and that's what was happening again yesterday. And as I was walking down there to get that photo, I saw all this commotion, and it turned out to be a baby being born out in a front seat of a car in the parking lot. So I was able to right place at the right time. It was very exciting, very exciting.
And Jeff, you were saying that it's not often that you have moments like this. Describe that moment for you. Everything was happening so quickly.
Everything happened very quickly. I can actually go back and see, about a minute went by when all of this was happening. I've been a photographer my entire life, a photojournalist. I've photographed presidents of the United States and famous sports figures, but babies are always really special. And it was a really special moment. And again, I guess I got to say, right place at the right time. You just never know. I always have my camera with me.
And you literally had what, about 30 seconds to snap this photo?
About 30 seconds. And David and Caitlin was a little preoccupied at the moment, but I asked David if it would be okay if I took a few photos, and he was very, very excited, but he said that would be fine. So we were able to get that photo, and I really appreciate him letting me do that.
And here we are all today. Well, thank you all for sharing your story. I know the media probably has some questions for you, so I'm going to open it up now to anybody wanting to ask questions of any of the speakers.
Hi, this is John from the Bulletin newspaper. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. First of all, congratulations. I hope everyone's feeling all right.
Yep.
When was Molly actually due?
She was due on Sunday, so she was due on January 31st.
Oh, January 31st due. Okay. All right. And David, I think in the email the hospital sent, you said something about knowing something might happen where you might have to prepare for something unusual. Can you tell me a little bit about what prompted that kind of thought in your head?
Well, that's honestly, that's how I think about every situation every day. Is I never want to leave myself unprepared for any situation I'm in. And throughout the last pregnancy, everything went well with it. We got to the hospital, we had our baby, even though it was very quick, that I was like, if I ever had it to hand deliver, I don't really have any idea what I'm doing. So I just wanted general knowledge. So I just kind of did a little research on it. And then, as this due date got closer and a snowstorm became impending, I freshened up on it, did a little more reading, just for basic how to deliver a baby if you're caught, in that situation. And go figure, it actually the planning paid out and worked out well.
How old are you and your wife?
I'm 37.
Yeah, I'm 30.
Great. Well, congratulations to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, David and Caitlin, Siobhan McGurl here with NBC Connecticut. Congratulations, and thank you so much for sharing your story. We were talking on our call about just how incredibly tense it must have all been. Can you talk about what you were feeling leading up to this, what you were feeling in the car ride there, what you were thinking? Take us through that.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say the car ride for me was really intense just because my contractions really amped up. So I didn't even realize how bad the roads actually were. So every time somebody asks, I'm like, oh, they weren't bad at all. And he's like, no, they were like pretty bad. So I think it was just a moment of for me, I was just trying to get through each contraction. So it was pretty tense in the sense that I knew that everything was kind of getting worse.
Yeah, most of the time, you can time things to be at a certain spot at a certain amount of time. But whenever weather is a factor that can alter that, you don't know how long it's going to take to get you where you're trying to go. And, as we started driving and her contractions got more and more, it got a little more nerve-wracking that we had to get to the hospital as soon as possible. So that's what, prompted me to jump and pass a car when I shouldn't have. Albeit I did it safely and didn't go much faster than we were going.
We'll let it go.
And then, just made sure that I got us there as safe as possible and to the right spot at the right time. And, everything worked out the way that it was supposed to.
And how about now that everything's kind of had the chance to settle in, you've been able to take a breath, what are you feeling? Do those tense moments turn to joy? Have you had a moment where it's been emotional? Can you give us a little insight into that?
There's definitely been some emotion that's run through it. It's brought some tears, joy, the feeling of, it's one thing to, watch the birth of your daughter when you're surrounded by the doctors or professionals that know what they're doing, but to actually bring your daughter into the world through your hands was something that I can never be able to put words to really truly describe. It was just really a surreal feeling.
And I think we're just so grateful for
Oh,
everybody
the help.
who helped, Dr. Adams especially,
Yeah.
just making sure that Molly was all
Oh.
set.
And thank you guys. And then Dr. Adams, I was just wondering, would you talk a little bit more about, I know that you have been battling on the front lines of this pandemic for the last 10 months. Could you just talk more about that experience and what it was like for the staff to be able to bring this joy to this family and give them this memory and sense of security?
Yeah, it's been a wonderful experience for me. I certainly, like I said earlier, I didn't expect that something like this would happen on that shift or at any point. But it's been a very difficult time and a never-ending, level of stress for us in the emergency department, battling COVID and all of the things that have come with it. And so I think this was a really amazing distraction and something to celebrate instead of, always focusing on all of the negative things that have been going on. And of course, really cool parents who took it all in.
Thanks, guys. I have one more question for parents and Dr. Adams, if you guys would, and Jeff too. When Molly's older and she looks back on this and she watches these news stories, what do you hope that she takes away?
Just to be strong. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like that's what we've all been doing. So just do what we can.
Yeah, I would say celebrate, the miracles and the wonderful experiences that come along, and look for that in your everyday life.
Make the best of any situation. They're always out there.
Hi, everyone. This is Stephanie Fuerte with World News Tonight at ABC News. I have a question for Caitlin. Could you just describe what was your reaction as everything was happening and as you guys were driving up to the hospital? What was going through all the commotion at the time?
So in the car, I really thought I was going to make it. I was like, this is going to be better than last time. I'm going to have plenty of time. Like, we'll get in and settle. And then once everything happened, I just kept apologizing to Dave because I knew that this was his biggest fear. And I just kept saying, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to do this. Like, I really thought I had a lot more time this time. So I felt very, very bad in a way.
No, sad. She did a good job.
And so as he was running in to go get help, from your perspective, can you just walk us through what was happening?
Yeah, I told him not to leave me. I was like, you can't leave me. But he just like ran and I was like, okay, I guess here I am. So I was just like waiting to see what would happen next. I didn't really know what was going to happen. So but I did not want him to leave.
And as you were processing everything, and what was your reaction once Molly was born and you had a moment to sort of gather all your thoughts and process everything?
I was just so grateful. Like I keep saying, I'm just so grateful for the staff here, for making sure that she was okay.
Thank you, guys.
Any other questions?
I have a quick one. This is Nancy Lynch from Channel 8 News. I love the name Molly Joyce. Is that a family name? How did you come up with the name?
So the name Joyce, we actually both have extended family that had that name in it. So we already kind of had the middle name picked. The first name came out basically when the baby did. We were leaving it up to chance. If it was a light-haired baby, we were going with the name Molly. If it was a dark-haired baby, we were going with the name Josephine. And she's a light-haired Molly.
Thank you. I was gonna say, so my great grandmother's name was Joyce, and she was a Spitfire, so it seemed very appropriate. So.
I know.
Hey, it's John from the Bulletin again. So what are you guys going to do when you have a third kid?
They told me I have to be here at 39 weeks.
Thanks.
Conversation this morning.
I think we have a question from Carmen from Fox 61.
Yeah, I had a question for Dr. Adams, and I apologize if you addressed this earlier, but can you kind of walk me through what was going through your head when you heard someone was having a baby outside and you just immediately ran outside to help? I mean, I'm sure that's not something you deal with every day at the hospital.
Yeah, it happens, and it happens in snowstorms sometimes, but it's not something that we routinely see, particularly at Bacchus, because we have an OB department that's open, 365 days out of the year. So generally speaking, if people come in labor, as long as they're not crowning and, the baby is imminently coming out, they go upstairs and have their delivery in a normal labor room. So I didn't have a lot of time really to think about it because we just were running and it was not very far. The entrance to the emergency room is, right inside of the doors where they had parked. So I, had maybe 5 seconds of where are the gloves? I need to cover my hands. And then when I got outside, baby was already out. And, I think the first thing I said was, "Great job, Mom." And the rest of it was pretty easy once I knew that the baby was okay and was pink and breathing. And it was really just get her warm and get her inside. So that was really my next thought, was separate them so that I can get her inside, and then we'll get Mom inside once she can get out of the car.
Thank you so much.
Anybody else have any other questions? All right, I think that's it. Well, I want to thank you all. And again, congratulations to David and Caitlin and little Molly. She came into the world with a storm, and very fitting. We send our heartfelt congratulations and thank you for sharing your story with us. And of course, Dr. Adams, for your work and your team, and the OB folks at Bacchus and Jeff for capturing that beautiful moment for this family. We appreciate it. Thank you to all.
Thank you.